Good evening. This meeting is called to order. It is now 7:02. Okay, we have established a quorum. Mr. LaFoyle.
Good evening, and thank you for coming.
Ms. Adair.
Good evening, President.
Mr. Secretary, Mr. Macias.
Good evening, Will.
Madam Vice President, Ms. Williams.
President, thank you for coming.
Mr. Salyer. I'm sorry, sir.
President,
Mr.
thank you
Salyer.
for coming.
I'm going to introduce our new member that has been elected to the TASB Board of Directors. We are very proud that now Judson has representation in the actual organization TASB, the Texas Association of School Boards. Mr. Flores, congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much, Arnold, and welcome everybody for being here.
And I'm Arnold Salinas. I'm president of the board, and I want to say thank you to everybody for attending our regularly scheduled board meeting. By law, I am required to read certain things, so bear with me. The regular meeting of the Judson School Board of Trustees is hereby called to order. I am pleased that you have taken time to join us this evening. As the Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals and policies and oversee the management of the district. We are responsible for approving budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to listen to reports from the superintendent. We are not here to make administrative or management decisions pertaining to the daily operation of the district. This is the responsibility of the superintendent. By the way, I am sorry and I apologize. I forgot the most important person, Dr. Mackey.
Good evening. I introduce Mr. Elizondo, our CFO, Ms. Howard, our Executive Director of HR, Mr. Kirshner, Director of Operation, Ms. Barra, Assistant Superintendent, and Nancy Robinson, Superintendent. My name is Willis Mackey. Good evening.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry, and again, I apologize to you and your staff, sir. The weather has been wonderful. In compliance with the State Government Code and open meetings, tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. This is a meeting in public, not a meeting of the public. As our guests, you are welcome to observe and listen. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of Judson's permanent legal record. In order that the tape adequately reflects these proceedings, please silence your mobile phones and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that these proceedings are recorded accurately, I may have to ask for order periodically should I notice that disruptions are interfering with our recording capabilities. Once again, we extend to each of you a sincere welcome for joining us here tonight. Thank you for your interest in the Judson ISD. We will now have invocation by Dr. Mackey, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand?
Would you please bow your head? Our Father which art in heaven, we want to thank you so much for the wonderful rain that you have blessed us with today. We want to thank you with your presence and giving us an opportunity to present and have a board meeting for the Judson ISD. We want to thank you for our members that are here. We want to thank you for our parents and staff that are here serving this district. Lord, you have blessed us with so many things in educating our kids. We want to just continue to say just thank you, because without you, we know it would not be possible. Thank you for all, and not with all the glory, we want to thank you for all your presence and what you're doing for our district and guiding us and leading us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I'd like to introduce to you our pledge leader for tonight. Come on ahead and come on out here, Colby. This is Colby Calkins. He is a fifth grader from Salinas Elementary School. He is a fifth grade A-Roll honor student, and he's in the gifted program and is very interested in sports and is actually writing his own book about adventures in traveling through time. His teachers state he is extremely caring and a helpful student, and he goes out of his way to help his fellow classmates. Let's join Colby in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Eric, oath. Oath. Ready, set. Ready, oath. Ready, ready. Ready, ace. Recent, on. Or, on. Center, ace. Oath. Center, ace. Right, ace. Forward, heart.
You may be seated. And let's give Colby a hand for a really, really nice job. Stay right there, Colby. Also like to ask his parents to stand for a moment and be recognized, Charles and Ashley Calkins, as well as their daughter Audrey, who's also a kinder student over there at Salinas Elementary. All right, thank you very much. Also like to recognize our color guard for tonight from Judson High School Junior ROTC, Cadet Major Yasmin Martinez, Cadet Captain Tristan Vargas, Cadet Captain Devon Council, and Cadet Second Lieutenant Sarah Hicks. All right, our first board recognition this evening comes from several of our campuses. The United Way campaign was a big success this year, in large part due to the work of Yvette Reyna as well as Rose Saldivar, but also to the campus coordinators known as Campus Champions. They were a big part of the success as well. We want to recognize a number of high performers in the district that really made this a successful campaign. First of all, we'd like to recognize the highest per capita donation, which came from Spring Meadows Elementary School at $61.80 per capita. Accepting on the school's behalf is Marie Hughes and Ursula Campbell. And if you'll step right over there, he was going to take a picture. Next is the school with the highest percentage increase, and that honor goes to Judson High School. Here to accept are Reese Day and Walter Harcutt. Our next recognition goes to the highest contribution overall that came from the district, and this is the Office ERC Athletics Judson Learning Academy group. Accepting on their behalf is Yvette Reyna and Rose Saldivar. We also had several campuses that had 100% charitable giving. And, to have that many people at each campus to be able to be everybody giving at least a little something is really an accomplishment. First of all, we'd like to recognize Converse Elementary School. Sylvia Duarte is representing them here tonight. I might also mention that Converse has been 100% giving for 6 straight years. Next is Coronado Village Elementary School. Janet Jackson is here to accept for them. They have been 100% for 3 straight years. Next is Metzger Middle School. They were 100%. Accepting for them is Carla Cooper and Redonda Johnson. Next is Spring Meadows Elementary. They were 100% charitable giving as well. Accepting on their behalf, again, is Marie Hughes and Ursula Campbell. Another school that has been 100% charitable for a number of years in a row is Woodlake Elementary School. They have been 100% for 3 straight years. Accepting for them is Sue Carter. Next is the police department. They were also 100% in charitable giving. Accepting on their behalf is Larry Fletcher and Diana Davidson. Next is Hartman Elementary School. Accepting on their behalf is Adrian Chevalier. And the last 100% charitable school is Judson Early College Academy. I don't have a representative here, but I thought I saw Miss Wilson, Dr. Wilson here somewhere. Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Congratulations. Thank you very much. And the Appreciation Award for Highest Judson Education Foundation Contribution. This one goes to the District Office, ERC Athletics, and Judson Learning Academy. And again, Yvette Reyna and Rose Saldivar accepting.
I'd like to say that Rose has been outstanding in leading the communication department. She has been outstanding in helping schools in the district and collecting this for United Way. We want to thank Rose for all her hard work and putting it
And as proof of that, the total for 2013 for Judson ISD is $96,070. That's an increase of $1,593. All right, next we have a check presentation. Last month, you may have recalled the 9/11 Memorial 5K Run and Walk event that was sponsored by HEB. About 150 runners and walkers participated in this, and it was part of their Operation Appreciation, an ongoing commitment to members of our armed forces and their families. Well, this evening we have Mr. Tad Lukehart with HEB. Tad, why don't you come on up here? He is with us. He is the unit director at the HEB on FM 78 to present a check of the proceeds from that race to set up a special scholarship fund. And Mr. Lukehart, as he comes forward, he'll tell you a little bit more about where this scholarship fund is going.
So the idea behind this is that this is the inaugural 9/11 Memorial Race, and it's designed to honor the memory of Karen Wagner, but also to provide an opportunity for a student in need to have the opportunity to go color. This was only 150 runners. Next year we need about 1,000. If we can get 1,500, this will be more like $10,000.
Right. Super. Well, thank you very much. You can... All right. One more. And we have one more check presentation, the special one from Judson Education Association. The JEA President Nancy Shannon and member Marilyn McKinney are here to present a check to the Judson Education Foundation and why they decided to make this charitable donation. Go ahead.
We represent JEA. We want to present this check to the Judson Foundation. We're going to all of you for our employees to the email and helping them, saving money and all the vendors. And it's scholarships also to help our students through scholarships. So we're very pleased to do this.
Can you tell us, is there a $1,500? Thank you. And that concludes our recognitions for the evening.
Okay, now we have the acknowledgement of visitors. And I believe, do we have any elected officials that I failed to recognize on the floor? Thank you. We have a couple of visitors here. We have Mr. Gary Looney. Thank you, sir. And we also have Miss Renee Green. Sorry. From the Public Works Department in Bexar County. Thank you for being here with us, both of you. Thank you. I'm sorry. We also have Pat. Where are you? Pat Mahan. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Acknowledgement of visitors. We have a couple of visitors that have signed up. This time is provided for citizens to address the board on issues or concerns. A person may speak one time for a period of 3 minutes. Presentation shall be informative only. No board action will be taken. A complaint or charge against an officer or employee of the district is not allowed in open session. Complaints and concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. The presiding officer shall determine whether a person who wishes to address the board has attempted to solve a matter administratively. If not, the person shall be directed to the appropriate policy to seek resolution before bringing the matter to the board at a subsequent meeting. Citizens wishing to receive a response from concerns presented to the board must provide written documentation. The board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. We have board members in the audience. We have Mrs. Kelly Ruiz, information regarding special needs transportation, and I believe you have received the information provided by Mrs. Ruiz. Ms. Ruiz.
Good evening, Dr. Mackey and members of the board. I'm here tonight as an individual trying to support our district in the mission to do what's right for students, and as an advocate for the unique population of students I serve at Converse Elementary School. Converse Elementary is home to 13 students in wheelchairs. Both last year and again this year, our students have been awarded a grant-funded, hands-on educational field trip by Morgan's Wonderland. While most of the costs of this trip are covered, only a portion of the funding is made available for transportation. If we are to use 6 buses to transport our 13 students, the cost for transportation will be $1,150. The grant reimburses $150. Over the course of the year, we participate in various Special Olympics activities. The cost for just my students for Special Olympics transportation is approximately $5,220. When grade levels attend field trips, my students go with their general education peers. For 2 of the grade levels I serve, this would require 2 buses for transporting 4 students. Over the course of the year, it will cost approximately $750 to transport my students on general education field trips. Each morning and afternoon, 5 buses drop off and pick up 12 students. In the afternoon, 4 of the 5 buses are typically late, coming at approximately 2:45 due to the fact that they pick up students at Elof and drop them off prior to coming to our campus. If we had buses set up to accommodate more wheelchairs, we could possibly look at 2 to 3 buses servicing my campus, freeing up others to pick up at Elof and elsewhere. I contacted other districts to see about how they handle their special needs transportation. Districts such as Northeast and Harlandale have buses which hold up to 6 wheelchairs. SAISD has buses which hold 5. Northside ISD has a standard capacity of 3 to 4. However, they've purchased a 72-passenger bus, which has been fitted with the appropriate tracks and can accommodate up to 9 wheelchairs. Judson has buses which typically accommodate 2 to 3 wheelchairs. However, we do have buses in our fleet that already have full bus track systems. They include buses 273, 271, 272, 276, and 275. I think we need to ask ourselves if we're being good stewards with our resources. This is a district-wide issue. While Converse is unique in the scale of the issue, my students will ultimately move on to middle school and high school, creating a much larger problem there. While it's sad to admit, students across the district are missing out on opportunities because of the cost of transportation. I know that it's an issue in planning community-based instructional opportunities for special education programs throughout the district. And in the spring, when we have the opportunity to participate in activities at Morgan's Wonderland again, we will likely be unable to do so because of the cost of transportation. With my experience with Morgan's Wonderland, several people talked about other departments carrying the burden of the cost. And thank you, Dr. Mackley, sincerely for making this possible for my students. However, the monies that's used to pay for these types of expenses come from somewhere, and consequently are taking away from something somewhere else. I know that here at Judson, we're passionate about our students and about their education. These funds could be going back into our programs and improving the educational experiences of all students. I'm coming before you, the board, because I believe you're responsible for helping the district see the big picture, especially in situations like this when it's hard to see the big picture at departmental levels. I know that we all want to continue to provide our students with the best educational experiences possible, and we would never want something like the cost of transportation to impact our ability to do so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and Dr. Mackey will be getting back with you
Thank you.
in a
I
later
appreciate
date,
that.
okay?
Thank you.
You for the information. We have Mr. Art Cardoso, SHAC report to the board. Mr. Cardoso, and I'm sorry, I have been asked to put you on the agenda, sir, and somehow I did not. So you can have more than 3 minutes, whatever it takes, okay, sir? Because that was my fault, okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Board. Dr. Mackey. How are we this evening? As you know, Judson Independent School District, and as well as all districts, are required to have a SHAC. For all those that don't know what SHAC means, it stands for School Health Advisory Council. And we have great board members, as well as Dr. Mackey, who have supported us these last 2 years. What the SHAC's purpose is to develop guidelines and wellness goals with the involvement from students, parents, and public, school food service administrators, and many others. But the SHAC could not be up and running without the amazing work of Judson's hardest working social worker, Ms. Beverly Weibel, who is a person who keeps all the contacts, who is in charge of keeping everything straight. If we have any questions, Mrs. Weibel has been the one that has always been able to take care of everything. The second person involved, very important, Mrs. Candy Tanner, of course, is the women's athletic director. Without these two women, we wouldn't be able to have the SHAC. And we do mean these two women are very, very, very good. They're awesome. I enjoy working with them. For the last 2 years, I've enjoyed working with them. All year long, the SHAC works very hard, focusing on providing our community with the Back to School Health and Safety Fair, which is held each 3rd August, and this year was August the 3rd, 2013 as well, which is our second year at being held at Judson High School. We had a great turnout from both parents and exhibitors. We would like to recognize, and I don't know if Miss Diane Lowe with the UT Teen Health is here, but if she is, would she stand? Okay. She has been with us for 2 years. Miss Kim Cadwell from Blue Cross Blue Shield as well. Both of these young ladies are at our meetings every month, which happen to be on the second Wednesday of each month. This year, everyone that came received a pedometer that were provided by Walsh Anderson Law Firm, as well as the UT Teen Health. So everyone that came to this health fair, August 3rd, received one, which was great. People loved it. A lot of people are getting to walk around, use these things, and they come in handy. We'd like to thank them, both of them. Also, we had several JISD departments who took part in this health fair, like the Judson Education Foundation. They were out there. JISD Technology, wonderful. JISD Adult and Community Ed and GED programs. JISD Bilingual and ESL. JISD Transportation Department, and our wonderful JISD Police Department. JISD Child Nutrition. JISD Adventure Club. JISD Dental Program. They're awesome. And, of course, our newest JISD Radiology Department. Many thanks to the high school ROTC cadets. Thank you very much. Lieutenant Colonel Grace, bless you. Lieutenant Colonel Grace, for allowing your ROTC cadets to help us. They help with the parking and anything else that we may need. Wonderful, wonderful people. Wonderful young men and women. A very special thanks, of course, to Mr. Hernandez, which is the principal at the high school. We couldn't do this without you allowing us to be there. Thank you very much. Some of the services that were offered were as we offered were immunizations back to school, discounted athletic physicals, dental screenings from our wonderful, wonderful friends at Tooth Time, who have been doing this for 2 years and have been doing this prior with other school districts, eye exams, and the blood bank was there, and they had their mobile unit in our parking lot as well. And one of our very own JISD board members, Mr. Macias, was with the American Diabetes Association, also had a table full of information. We thank you, Mr. Macias. We also would like to thank our liaison board member, Mrs. Dare, who has, as we all know, is very busy, but manages to attend as many meetings as she can. Thank you, Ms. Adair. The Shack Council has already started working towards this year's 2014 Health Fair, and we welcome and encourage more of our parents, community members, to join us every second Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. at the Judson High School Principals Conference Room, or sometimes we may move it to the stadium on the second floor in Ms. Candy Tanner's office, who is the Women's Athletic Director. We have many great ideas for this year. We hope to keep growing and even more by year with the support of you all, our board members and our superintendent. We thank you and just thank you, really. I mean, it's been wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Fellow board members, I am moving, going from consent items. We're going to move to item number 6, discussion and consideration of action items. We have several people that are traveling out, so we're going to go ahead and allow those people to make their presentations or be available for questions. The first item we're going to do is item 6C, consider and take possible action regarding approval of an interlocal agreement with Bexar County and a budget amendment of $150,000 for sidewalks on Benz Engleman Road. Motion by Mr. Sellier, second by Mr. Flores. Discussion. We have Mrs. Renee Green from Bexar County, and if you have any questions or anything as you're doing your discussion, she'll be more than welcome to answer anything. Mr. LaFoyle.
There's a little something in the Herald paper that says, "What were we thinking?" Evidently, I wasn't thinking properly, because I still agree with Mr. Matthias. We are not in the sidewalk business, but we are in the safety business. And looking at the buses and getting input from Dr. Mackey and Mr. Kirchner, I agree that we do need these sidewalks. I will be voting for it this time and not against it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Adair.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. I appreciated the extra time to look at the items, and it's really funny because last week I was voting for it. And then I heard from Mr. LaFoyle, and I voted against it. And I also heard from Mr. Salyer, and tonight I'm going to be voting against it. I went on a little tour based on what Mr. LaFoyle had mentioned about Kirby and the sidewalk issue over there. As a representative for the whole district, I wanted to make sure that I was looking at the entire picture, not just this limited portion. I certainly want to express my thanks to Bexar County for acting upon our request and obtaining all of the necessary information to come forward and let us know, and for the amount of monies that the county is willing to put forward toward this endeavor. And don't worry, it'll pass. There's enough votes. But the children that this sidewalk will affect are currently on buses. The children in the Kirby area are walking. I kind of looked back at when the legislature changed, and I talked to some of my fellow school board members in the city. I don't want to set a precedent of school districts paying for sidewalks and roads and things that tax dollars are set aside for in the county and the cities to provide for. I want to ensure that to the maximum extent possible, our monies go toward education and the things that are closest to our children. I looked at what Mr. Salyer said because I didn't want to give Mr. LaFoyle the opportunity to call me a boomerang on not approving the buses to be done away with. So I looked at the route. And the portion of Vince Engelman, the 9/10 of a mile, we're talking the county putting in $500,000 and the school district put in $150,000. The $150,000 is going to come from our fund balance, which is our savings. We're not really losing $500,000 because it's not ours, it's yours. But I questioned the superintendent on why it was so much, and I found it's a very complicated 9/10 of a mile, and a bridge needs to be built, etc. My concern is there are no lights on that portion of the road, and just putting in a sidewalk, it's what I would term as a kind of a deserted area. It's in the rural part of the county, that's why it's not in a city. If it were my child, I would not want my child walking in the early hours of the morning, even on a sidewalk. I don't think that the road is a road where I would want my child to be walking. So, Mr. Salyer, I would turn around and say it's a hazardous route. So, if I feel it's a hazardous route, then why would I expend money to put in sidewalks? I would just continue busing along that route. And hopefully, we will have some things going on to look at hazardous routes and have a hazardous route committee instead of a one-man hazardous route decision maker. But I will not be supporting it, but I certainly do thank you, and thank you for all of the efforts, and hopefully in the future we may go about it a little bit differently because we have a lot of needs. We could use a lot of the county's money. Thank you.
Ms. Williams.
I won't spend time repeating everything June just said, but I couldn't agree anymore with June. And I can't support this for the same reasons that we have so many needs across the district, and I too sit in a seat where I look at the entire district as well and represent the whole district, and appreciate the efforts and appreciate everything that's been looked at. But I can't support it. We have so many needs across the district, and this is really hard for me to justify this one when it's not directly impacting the educational parts. But thank you so much for your time.
Mr. Salyer? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Salyer was there. Oh, okay. Mr. LaFoyle.
Am I up now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Well, June, this is the first time you've ever listened to me. This is a first, believe me. And as far as the Kirby people over there, the young people walking, that is being taken care of. That is my district. I look after my district. That will be taken care of. They won't be walking in mud anymore. We are working out something with the city of Kirby.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Salyer.
Yes. June, I understand what you're saying, but hazard route, not hazardous route, kids are walking it. They're walking it every day. Kids are walking home from Wagner. Kids are walking after school. It doesn't matter. Now, I look at it this way. This $500,000 is also the taxpayers' money of the district. And if I was a homeowner, home and association owner, I would want those sidewalks in there because it's Bexar County money being used at Bexar County for Bexar County taxpayers. And our little piece is just to help that, okay? And I think I look at it as bringing taxpayer money home to taxpayers that paid their money in those subdivisions over there. And again, Richard, like I said, I agree with you 100%. It's a safety issue. Whether it's a hazardous route, not a hazardous route, whatever, kids are walking it every day from Wagner and Metzger. So I'm going to vote for it again. It's just, I think it's the right thing to do. Thanks.
Mr. Macias.
Since we're not in the sidewalk business. How long is the sidewalk going to last us once it's constructed?
When we do the sidewalk construction, we time it to the life cycle of the road, which is a 20 to 30 year life cycle.
20
And if
or
I
30
may,
years?
yes, sir, if I may, Mr. Macias, we have done partnerships like this before with several school districts. With Northeast Independent School District, they participated in the construction of the expansion of Bulverde Road to accommodate the Johnson High School that went in. This was several years ago. More recently, they participated over $250,000 with the design of a bridge so that their students could get to their Wilderness Oak Elementary and not have to go on 281 to do that. Northside Independent School District has also participated with the county. They actually constructed a road to their high school off of Wiseman, which wasn't planned. We helped them, assisted them with that. They dedicated it to the county for maintenance when they were done. And we're currently negotiating with them. This is a very large project on their end. We are reconstructing 2 roadways off of Culebra. They have notified us of their plans to go in with a high school and a middle school. That will require us to revise those plans and go from a 2-lane with a center turn lane to a 4-lane roadway to accommodate the traffic. And we are working with them. They are going to pick up the incremental difference of that. So these are not partnerships. These are partnerships, that we do quite a bit with school districts. We lay down the infrastructure needs for the community, and when we try to do something to benefit that school, it's always helpful for us to get participation. And part of the problem that we have with that section of Ben Zingelman is it is a rural section, meaning it's a 2-lane roadway with bar ditches. So in order to put a sidewalk in, we had 2 options. We had to go 15 feet off the edge of pavement so you wouldn't endanger any students that might be walking along the side of the road, or we could curb that section and go in. And we chose the curbing of the section because you do have a Exxon pipeline easement that's 15 feet off of that, and they would not allow us to put a sidewalk over that easement. So we did spend a lot of time working with the district to try to find a solution for that area, and we look forward to providing an opportunity and hopefully being able to work with you again in the future.
Well, I appreciate that analysis. I don't know the nature specifically of these partnerships, but I do feel that this particular arrangement is unique in that the 0.7 mile of sidewalk is solely on Bexar County property and is not part of Judson property. These other districts or other partnerships, you may have had a collaboration where some of the property was on their property, which, would make things a little differently. If you were building a sidewalk on Judson property, it's a win-win. This is really a service that the county does, and the commissioners are elected to do, to provide that service, not the school district. We're not elected, hey, let's build these sidewalks. That's where I have some sensitivity to this particular item because I think it's outside our scope, and I've already put that on record. I'm all for collaboration. I think that's important. But in this day and age, we have very limited resources, so we have to really look at where we're spending our money. And secondly, it's almost as if we're giving the county a discount for doing a service that they would normally do to begin with. I don't know.
Mr. Macias, let me be clear. We would not come in as the county and put a sidewalk on Ben Zingelman. We did that at the request of Judson ISD to facilitate the transport to and from that school.
And I understand
that section of the county, it's what we call a rural section. About 50% of the roads that we maintain in the county are rural sections with no sidewalks. And so when we began discussing this idea, one of the things that we had to do as the county is to distinguish between why we were going to go in and use taxpayer dollars to put the sidewalk in. And part of that distinguishing factor is participation by the school district. I could have anyone in Waterwood come and say, well, you put a sidewalk in Ben Zingelman, come put one down in Waterwood. But it's that participation by Judson ISD that allows us to expend those county dollars to do something we would not be doing.
Well, and again, I respect that and I understand, and I know that it was the district's initiative to contact the county and so on. So we're at this juncture now. I will just say to my colleagues that I know that we've talked about student safety being utmost importance, but I'll tell you the current process of busing our kids to and from the neighborhood is pretty safe. Sidewalk will not guarantee safety. We had an incident recently at Judson High School where we had a child that was hit, and we had a very well sidewalk. So there is no correlation between a sidewalk and safety. I mean, if you want kids safe, what we're doing now is very safe. So I'll just leave it at that.
Mr. Macias, the kid hit at the sidewalk was on a bike crossing the street. It wasn't on the sidewalk. Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Mr. Flores.
I want to call for the question.
Okay. Call for the question. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're going to go ahead, Dr. Mackey, or just do it like. Okay, you can vote now. Okay, so we now are going to go ahead and take a vote on the.
Hold on, Mr. Salinas. A question. The call for the question requires 2/3, which means a 4-3 wouldn't be 2/3. Oh, is it? It's not as simple. It's 2/3. It's 2/3. I mean. Yeah. Well, I think we had two people that wanted to say something. I'm good.
It didn't pass.
Ms. Williams.
Well, one of my questions you actually did already answer about the partnerships, but so it's quick. But that was the one thing that I was curious is exactly the partnerships, and you said they were different, but were they actually on county property?
Yes,
or
they were. All of them are.
All of them were on county
All of them
property?
are. The
Okay.
Wilderness Oak Bridge was not even anywhere remotely close to school property.
Okay, and the other thing that was touched on just briefly was the life of it, but the maintenance after this is, if this goes through and is built, who will maintain?
The county will maintain it.
Okay, completely. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Adair.
Thank you. I just had a question for Dr. Mackey. Dr. Mackey, what would it take in the motion in order for this $150,000 to be allowed to be put back in the fund balance from an upcoming bond?
Mr. Alexander, we have to do a proper.
We would have to do a reimbursement resolution to have
Yes.
that happen.
Is that hard to write?
No, we'll take care of it.
To write. We
Yeah.
could do it at a later meeting.
Yeah, we can do it next meeting.
I did talk to some of those school board members, and what most of them told me was that they paid for it out of bond money. And so my question to the superintendent was, if there was to do it legally to reimburse our savings, our fund balance, when we pass another bond. We don't have a bond presently that we could use to pay for it, but if we can pass a resolution to put the money back and let a bond pay for the sidewalk, then, I would be more in favor of supporting that.
Mr. Adair, we can put that on the next board agenda.
Okay, so what do you want me to do tonight?
No, we'll take care of it. We'll put it on the next board agenda.
Do you want to come in?
No, we'll just put it on there. You can vote for the next board meeting.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Green. We appreciate you being here, man. Okay, we had a motion, discussion. Okay, we're going to go ahead and vote on the. No, not yet. Oh, well, yeah. There we go. Oh, no, they're not blinking yet. Now.
5-2.
Okay, the motion carries 5-2.
He said talk it out. Can I speak? Anyway, I'm going to act like y'all and talk without permission. I voted for this with the understanding that a resolution will come at the next board meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we're going to go to item number G6. Thank you, ma'am. G6, consider and take possible action regarding approval of request for proposal 14-01 for health insurance. Motion by Ms. Adair. Second by Mr. LaFoyle. Discussion.
Sir, Ms. Meade will be representing the committee.
Thank you for your kindness. I represent the insurance committee for the entire district. We had representatives from all of the schools. Every school was invited and every organization, from our bus drivers up through all of the employees in the district and the district office. Ms. Howard presented us with, first off, we had a presentation by the Alamo Insurance Group that detailed a lot of the changes and the aspects of Obamacare and the impact that it was going to have on our insurance premiums and so forth like this. At a second meeting, we were presented with, and the reason we had a second meeting is because the vote had not been taken place, or the 1st of October had not passed. We didn't realize what was going to happen with regard to the exchanges and so forth. After that, the Alamo Insurance Group put together the bids that came in after they knew, the insurance companies knew what they had to pay, in a sense, and how the exchanges were going to work here in Texas. As a result of that, at the second meeting, they came with presentations and bids from a number of different insurance groups. I can't remember all of them, but the two that really met the requirements of the district, that the district lays out, was a Humana plan and a Blue Cross plan, and those were the ones that we were really concentrating on. Our vision plan has been well received by the population and by the committee, had no complaints with it, and so we didn't seek to change it. Dental has received a tremendous amount of criticism as to its coverage and so forth, and this time we were able to have 3 different companies present, with Aetna giving 2 different options. As a result of that, Ms. Howard gave us the spreadsheets that detailed that. We looked over them. Most people, after looking at it and asking questions and discussing, were able to make their decisions at that time. If we did want to take the papers out, we had to sign that we would not share them with any of our colleagues other than verbal understanding of what we had. But from what I observed, and I was one of the last people out, I think most of us didn't need to take that. Ms. Howard did, however, provide us a few days later with a comprehensive comparison with this year's insurance that we presently have and next year's proposals under Humana and Blue Cross Blue Shield. We voted via email, and the result was what you have in front of you.
Thank you. Discussion by anybody? Oh, the insurance.
Dr. Mackey, Mr. Salinas, board members, my name is Gary Looney. I'm with the Alamo Insurance Group, and we are your representatives as consultants for your employee benefits programs. I have a document that's about 90 pages long, and its CE credits are worth, for CPAs or whatever, we can go through about an hour and a half of first page for the bullets. We'll go quickly through the bullets. This has been a very unusual and difficult year for renewals because of the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act has given us a lot of regulations, a lot of restrictions, things that we have to follow as far as the provision of health care benefits for the employees. Amongst those are the information that we have to cover dependents up to the age of 26, no pre-existing conditions. We have to have maximum limits on a lot of the internal benefits in the policy, the primary one of which the maximum out-of-pocket exposure for any individual for any calendar year is maxed out at $6,350. So in the past, we have had exposures and we've had expenses in that medical area, high-cost area, that were in the $12,000, $15,000, $18,000 range. So now when we back up to that $6,350 number, that number is accumulated by every expense that an employee has. That includes co-payments, co-insurance, deductible costs, anything that the employee has out of pocket. In the past, that didn't apply to the major medical maximum, but now it does. So that any expense that an employee has out of pocket, that $6,350 number at 100% after that date. So we're restricted to that as far as our plan designs are concerned. So in an effort to be sure that we had coverage for employees, when we went to the market, we said there must be 4 things in our plan. We have to have a co-payment to visit the doctor's office. We have to have a co-payment for an emergency room urgent care treatment. We have to have a prescription drug program. Those 3 items, plus the fact that in our maximum out-of-pocket maximum is $6,350. So our plan design, we were restricted by the Affordable Care Act for those limitations. We also have a budget maximum of $275 per employee per month. That is your budget number. Your budget number at $275 then provides that benefit package for all employees in the district. There is no cost for employees for that plan. If they want a higher profile plan, greater benefits, then they can opt into those plans at their option. It's been a difficult year, but we've matched the budget and we've given a quality health care plan for the employees. We presented that to the insurance committee, and they have voted at 100% for that plan design. Yes, sir.
Mr. Stelly.
What was our utilization rate last year? Because the past 2 years hadn't been real great.
Sir?
Our utilization rate.
Our claims ratio in relationship to expenses and claims in relationship to total premium, we were just right at 93%
That's a lot
paid.
Better. Yeah, we were 104 year before last. Right, Ms. Howard?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, we were
2 years
104.
ago.
So we're at 93, so we're much better.
We're better, but we're still well above what the industry says is the number that they would like to see.
Right, and that's utilization of ERs and places like that.
A lot of it.
Y'all going to get a doctor.
Ms. Hader.
Thank you. I'm not very familiar with the Affordable Care, so if I misstate, just forgive me. Is it possible for...
Believe me, Ms. Adair, you are not the only one that's unfamiliar. It changes daily. It's like trying to catch a butterfly with the hiccups.
Is it possible for employees to opt out of our plan and apply for the exchange that the government is offering?
The district provides a plan to each employee that's affordable and meets all the demands of the health care law for the benefits, affordable care, and it meets the minimum benefit standards. As a result of that, an employee that's provided that by the employer is not allowed access to the exchange. That's the employee. However, if their dependents, they feel like the dependents would have a better offer under the exchange, they can have their dependents covered under the exchange.
I just have one more question. Can you explain, when you said other plans, I think Ms. Mead alluded to, can you explain how this GAP plan that we approved last year will help with the deductibles, the higher deductibles that the employees will have to meet?
Yes, ma'am. We looked at a couple of issues as far as our plan design was concerned. We looked at the possibility of changing some of the interior limits inside the plan to have greater benefits. But we decided that the GAP plan, which is an employee optional plan, when it is matched up with the base plan, that the GAP plan will cover a majority of the deductible that an individual would have if they were hospitalized. And it also covers a contribution toward any high-cost imaging, MRIs, CAT scans, things like that are done on an outpatient basis for diagnostic purposes. So an individual employee has the option of having that by making premium payment for the GAP plan. Now, this document that I showed you here is the document that we use to present to each employee. This is available. It has a complete explanation of all of those benefit plans. Plus, we meet on campus with the employees of the district, including all employees. And that means early morning for the different meetings for the different police department and everything. So we go on and we counsel with them to make sure that they understand the plan and how they work. Yes.
Mr. Macias.
Well, thank you for making this presentation or answering our questions. Do you have an opportunity to, I guess, have direct dialogue with the committee, with the insurance committee that we have?
We present directly to the committee on as frequently as we can. Yeah.
Yeah. How long is that meeting? I guess I'm trying to figure out if you think it was a thorough enough.
Well, the first meeting that we had lasted close to 2 hours. I think, Barbara, went about 2 hours, where we went over the law itself, the Affordable Care Act, and the impact that it has on the process that we were going through. The second meeting we had lasted approximately 2 hours, which was then the results of the RFP process and the negotiations that we've been able to complete with the different insuring companies.
Well, I have a lot of respect for the committee and for administration's recommendation as we move forward with this. But I did notice that the committee didn't have a unanimous vote for its selection. What was that vote? What was it? Was it 17-1?
17-1.
So what was the other one that was 11-7 or something like that?
That's the dental plan.
Okay, so that was a dental. Good. So that does clarify. So 17-1 is pretty good. I won't worry about that part then. Okay, well, thank you. That's what I had.
Anybody else? Thank you very much, Mr. Looney, and we
Thank you.
appreciate you being here, sir. I'm sorry we kept you late, and I know you have to travel, so but we
Unfortunately,
appreciate you being here, sir.
Thank
Okay, board, let's go ahead and take the vote. Okay. Oh. Okay. The motion passes 7-0. I'm going to do one more item on the. I'm sorry. Item 6B. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of the addition of 3 police officers and departmental rankings. And if you notice, it says Mr. LaFoyle, Mr. Celio. Actually, there's 2 different items. And I believe, Mr. LaFoyle, are you going to amend that, sir?
I'm going to make a motion.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, we're going to go ahead and, do we have a motion? Motion by Mr. Salyer, second by Mr. LaFoille. Okay. For B.
I made the motion to separate.
Oh. No, that's the first, we have to open it first. We have to open it first. Okay, yes. Okay, discussion. I'm sorry? Yes. Okay, yes, that, we're going to go, okay, we have a yeah, we're voting on the amendment. Okay, all those, right, yes, okay, all those in favor of the amendment to separate the agenda item, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do the rankings as the first item. Motion by Mr. Salyer, second by Mr. Flores. Discussion. Mr. Salyer.
Thank you. Okay, I put this on here simply because we don't pay anyone but our regular officers are paid on a pay scale. We don't pay for corporal or sergeant lieutenant. We lost a very valuable lieutenant to other district a couple weeks ago simply because he was offered more money. He was doing a lieutenant's job with his skill sets without being paid a lieutenant. That's like asking, someone to do something for free. I think that's wrong, okay? What we have here, and I want to do the ranking, and if I can add it to the stipend that we got. Ms. Howard, do you have the stipends? What I would like to do is start paying the stipend immediately, then we can re-talk about this at budget time, for pay scales and stuff like that. But my motion is to pay the stipend. They were, can you say them, Ms. Howard? It's not in, it was a separate letter.
Yes, sir. So if approved, the lieutenant will receive a stipend of $1,500. My apologies. Lieutenant at $1,500, sergeant at $750, corporals at $500.
And in my intention, this is a fix right now, and then this is really a budget item, but I think we need to fix it now, and then we can talk about it in budget.
Sir, I have a question because we got a memo, ma'am, that says Lieutenant 1,500, Sergeant 750, and Corporal 500. Oh, okay. I'm sorry because we were looking at the other one. Thank you. Thank you. We're okay then.
Okay.
I just want to make sure. Okay, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's what I want to fix this now before we lose another police officer, and actually pay people what their rank so we can promote people to their. As you saw in the packet, the job descriptions are there, and I think it's only fair to do it so we don't lose anybody else. It's not much of a stipend, I don't think. But it's a good faith effort to save more police officers from leaving, and then I want to bring this back up and judge in a budget, which I think is really appropriate place for this. I did bring it up in budget, and I said this was going to happen, and it happened. So now we're trying to go back and fix something. Already lost an officer, and so that's ask you to vote for this. Fix something so we can get to budget.
Gilbert.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's okay. I agree with Steve, and I agree on the stipend, but more importantly, I think we need a rank structure. This is if anybody thinks that we don't need a rank structure, then we don't need assistant principals. We don't need department heads. This is a paramilitary organization that needs to have a structure that follows down. You can't just have a chief and then a bunch of Indians. And unfortunately, we have not had this in our stable in this department that I think it is important that we have this, and then the stipend will come along the way it comes along. But more importantly, we need the rank structure. Thank you.
Ms. Sader.
Thank you. I just had a question. I thought we did make a lieutenant a lieutenant. What happened with that?
Yes, a job description was
We didn't
approved
pay
for
anything.
lieutenant, but there was no differentiation in pay nor a stipend attached to it.
Oh, okay. I think that's what the chief said, though. She wanted a titled person to put in that position, but she didn't ask for a change in the pay rate. Is that right?
She asked for it.
She asked
She
for it.
asked for it,
When
and y'all
came to
shot
the
it
board?
down.
When it came to the board?
Yeah.
So if we already have a position,
We don't have, I'm sorry, can I interrupt? There is no position. We just pinned, it's like frocking in the military.
but wait,
We frocked him.
did we
But
have
he-
it, but did he fit in a job description position of a lieutenant?
Yes.
Okay,
But
so
we were not paying him.
we didn't pay him extra. We paid him.
But we didn't pay
extra.
him, we did not pay him for his skill sets, and that's why he left.
Okay, but what I want to make sure, Mr. Salyer, and I don't have a problem with it, so let's not get all up in arms. I'm okay with the stipend, but I want to make sure we're doing this right. So if we already have a job description for a lieutenant, then only the person that's occupying that position and meets that job description would get this $1,500?
Correct.
You ain't HR. I'm trying to commit the HR lady.
Correct.
Thank you, ma'am. And on the sergeant, how will you determine who will get the sergeant stipend and who will get the corporal, and how many are we talking about?
Well, first we would have to approve
The
those actual
stipend?
positions. No, those actual job descriptions. So that would
Oh.
be the first step, is to approve those
Okay.
job descriptions.
Okay.
Then there would be a process by which we would allow the officers to apply for those positions. Obviously, all internal, and based upon the qualifications and the requirements of those positions, then that would be what would determine who gets what rank.
How many are we talking about? How many sergeants and how many corporals? One of each? Okay. Okay. So, to be clear, Mr. Salyer,
Pardon?
your motion was for departmental rankings of the lieutenant position is already approved, so that job description would not need to be voted on, just the stipend, but to also include approving the job descriptions of the sergeant
Sergeant.
and the corporal,
Correct.
one of each, with stipends accordingly.
Correct.
Okay, I can support that.
This will be a fix.
Thank you.
Mr. Macias.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. I know that we had dissolved the structure some time back. I just wanted a little bit of history. Do we know when or how? No? So, okay.
Mr. Flores, when you here when we dissolved it?
We never had, we just had the chief and the lieutenant. We never had.
We had corporals and
right.
sergeants.
Well, those that were assigned that, they were made at the discretion of the chief, but there was no pay involved. And that was to work with the other police entities, you know, because you can't have a person with no stripes at the football game having a guy from the county with 2 stripes reporting to him. So the chief had asked, and that was Chief Rojas, had asked to let us give him some rank, and we didn't give him any pay, which, you know. So that was basically it. But we never actually had.
And my other question for Dr. Mackey or for HR, whoever can answer the question. The stipend, I know isn't a good gesture, as Mr. Sellier had mentioned, but does it make it competitive? I think Mr. Sellier was trying to do is retain personnel. And that's obviously still a study we're doing across the district in terms of, so it won't.
No, we just getting this done, and then in budget in good faith, then in budget process, we review it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Ms. Williams.
Well, thank you. That was actually my first question real quick, is did we have a rank structure? Because like Gilbert said, I mean, especially with a military background, that sounds very foreign to me not to have one. But I'm a younger folk here, so I didn't know, did we have one before? But it's sounding like mixed reviews. But then the other question is just, do other school districts have them?
It's in the
And I
packet.
thought so. Yeah, no, yep, that's what I was curious. It's just, but why we had one, or that was my biggest
no
confusion is I've heard mixed things about that question. Is yes, we've had one, or no, we didn't. So that was, well, yeah. See, she says we had one. I was confusing, but thank you. That was my two questions.
I am just glad that we're discussing these ranks and additional officers, because our officers work very hard and they take care of our district. Maybe you don't see them a lot, but I guarantee you, I do drive a lot, and they're always working or in the schools or something. So I'm very proud of their work. So I will definitely be supporting this. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and take the vote. No further discussion. Oh, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, likewise. Motion carried. Now, the other part is the adding 3 additional officers. Mr. LaFoy.
I make a motion.
We need a motion.
Motion by Mr. Sellier, second by Mr.
Oh, second. I'll
Motion's
second
been
it.
made already.
Mr. LaFoy. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
I put this on the agenda because I go around to a lot of elementary schools. We have 17 elementaries now. And the thing is that when I came on board, we had 25 police officers. At that time, I think, how many elementaries did we have, Gilbert? Do you remember?
I don't think there were 25 police officers.
Yeah, there was.
I don't think we ever had.
When I come on board, yes. Okay. How many do we have then?
I think at the most we've ever had is like 19.
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's just something. But anyway, we had all these police officers. Our elementaries were covered. Now we're down to, what, 17 police officers?
How many, sir?
We have 20 total, including the chief.
Is that it now?
Yes. Well,
Even with the ones gone?
No, but that's how many positions we have.
Okay. Okay, we have 20 positions. The thing is, we have no coverage on elementaries but 1 police officer assigned to all the elementaries. What I'm asking for is 3 more. This will give us 4 blocks to take care of. And the most they'll have is 4. But they can be used elsewhere too. See, right now they took the only one we had and put him in Judson ISD because the police officer left over there. They need another police officer. So this is unfair to our elementary kids. What do we do if a person comes in there and starts raising the devil, yelling, hollering? You got a call? It might take him 45 minutes to get there, and that's not his fault. He might be on the other end of the district doing something else for one of the middle schools. So that's why I'm asking for 3 more officers to split this up so it's a little even. Our kids need safe schools. We've got it now so the doors are locked. You've got to ring a buzzer to get in. But still, he can ring the buzzer, get in. But still don't say that he's not going to get into trouble when he's in there. So I'm asking for this. If I get it, I'll be happy. If I don't get it, I'll just go on. It'll be on the agenda again. Thank you.
Ms. Williams.
Thank you. How many are on filled positions right now?
One lieutenant, 1 officer.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate safety is always a number one, and I do, Richard, but this is definitely much more of a budget discussion, and this is 3 new positions, salaried positions, when we're mid-year here. So I'm all for talking about this, but I would prefer to have this discussion during budget time. That being said, though, safety is a tough one. You know, I would love to have officers. I'd love to have 4 officers at every single school. I have children in the district. I'd feel a whole lot safer as a parent if we had police officers, multiple police officers on every campus. But right now, the structure we have in place without having this request, from our chief. Dr. Mackey, can you tell us I mean, that was my other concern too. Is this something that you were thinking that we need safety-wise right now, when we also have cities and county and other support too in emergency
That's how
situations?
we've been using the county and the city. There are some areas that maybe we can look at, we can research and study it, but right now I don't have that information available.
Okay. Well, and that's why I can't support this right now, is just not having that information and not having that obvious need. And like I said, I don't want it to be misunderstood that safety is absolutely my number one concern above everything. But at this time, I can't support that without having more substantial information on where our needs are specifically and the number. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I cannot support this at this time because I think it is a budget item. Right now, we have several things that have come up. We've just expended $150,000 for sidewalks. We heard from the parent on the handicap bus. I would definitely like us to look into that. I can't believe we can only transport 2 to 3 wheelchairs per bus. And our teacher-student ratio at the high school is high in some areas. I see Mr. Hernandez trying to hide back there, but I need some more teachers for you, Mr. Hernandez. So at this time, I can't support this, but I'd certainly like a full report on how we're using them and where they are and what we need when we get ready to work on the budget for next year.
Mr. Sally.
Yeah, Richard, I don't think we got the votes for this, so I'm going to make a motion to amend this in a minute. But first of all, here's my issue. And I looked over some of the data last year from the reports. We have no fudge factor. For instance, several times last year we had 2 or 3 officers out, injured, sick leave, whatever. So you should have 3 officers at Judson. You have 1 or 2 on some days. We actually hired some part-time officers, didn't we, Ms. Howard? Okay. So I agree with everybody, Richard. This is a budget item, but I think we need some fix. Okay, I think we need some fix. So I'm going to motion to amend that we spend $50,000 on hiring part-time officers through the spring so we can do this correctly at budget time.
But wait a minute, Mr. Sellier, I'm sorry, sir, we had already budgeted for the 2 officers that are...
Point of order. I made a motion to amend. We have to discuss that and vote on it. We have to discuss, there's discussion. We have to discuss the amendment. I have a motion, Richard seconded, and it was to put $50,000 in account to hire part-time peace officers through the spring like we did last year, so that when we have an officer down or sick or out, we can replace them. And so we can do this right at budget time.
Okay, Mr. Foyle?
I want to bring your attention to page 164. It says 4 officers in these 3 years, 2013-14. So we would have to buy off school district 3. The request was made for manpower, anywhere from 2 to 8 positions. D9, that was the budget right there. We were brought up there in budget time. That was D9. This amendment, yeah, I support 100% that we will bring it back in the budget again, to hold it on 59.
Ms. Williams?
Again, this is still $50,000, and if Dr. Mackey or Ms. Howard or Chief could justify that we have an increased need or increased officers that are out sick now, but I'm not feeling that vibe from HR, from Chief, from Dr. Mackey, so I can't support that at this time, but I'm absolutely all for open discussion, budget time frame, even starting now. We got to start budget discussion early, so sooner the better, but I can't support this right now without having that request from our...
Ms. Adair?
Well, that was my question. Dr. Mackey, is this your recommendation that we do a budget amendment for $50,000 to, because that's what, we did not allocate $50,000 for this matter. Is there some danger, some imminent danger, that we need to budget it, that we can't just leave it to your discretion, because you have discretionary funds. If an officer's down, you can bring in an officer without the board.
I can do that.
Okay, so he can do it without us doing a budget amendment, so.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Mr. LaFolle, what is it that we want to cover? What is it that you see and utilize now? That's what I just want to know, in which campus, or what are we trying to work with? I know you said elementary, but do like what? That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, I know, but 4 quadrants, and there to. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. So 165.
161. Yeah. Well, mine is a 161. They had the explanation there, Mr. LaFolle.
Okay.
Okay, Miss. Okay, you will finish, Miss Adrian. Okay.
Okay, I see one.
Again, now I'm going to come back and ask. We had budgeted for 20 officers. Am I correct? We have openings for 2. So we had already budgeted that money. So that money is in the budget. Am I correct? So if we add those 2 new officers, we're not taking money from the fund balance, because we already budgeted money for those 2 officers. Or correct me.
There are 2 open positions.
Well, I would not worry. Right now, we need to fill those 2 first. Okay, I understand, but I think we need to fill those 2 first. And then Mr. Sellier said, well, let's go ahead and budget $50,000 to bring in part-time or whatever. And actually, you say that we don't need that because Dr. Mackey has the authority up to $50,000. So I don't know. So as far as the addition of 3, yes, I will support that. But if we need to go into the budget or something, then maybe yes, let's go ahead and talk about it. But first, let's fill up those 2 positions that are budgeted already. Okay, but there's still discussion, sir. Okay, Mr. Flores.
My question, Dr. Mackey and Mr. Elizondo, in the budget, do we have money for substitutes as such, and is that just for for teachers only, or is it just for any profession? Okay, so we have money in there, maybe not the whole $50,000, but we do have some money in there. And these officers are not going to be, I don't think they'll be on a daily basis, where we're going to hire those 3 officers until budget comes around, because I'm really for, putting it as a budget item that needs to be looked at responsibly, and and if we're going to increase the force, we have to do it in a timely manner. We can't just come in and say, hey, we're adding these. We need them, and as we do, like we said, Dr. Mackey has that authority, and there is money in the budget already for substitute type. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Sellier.
The reason I put $50,000 in there, we're down 2 officers right now, right? And it's going to be a time for the selection process to take place. And one's obviously the lieutenant is gone. Where's the other officer assigned? Do we know?
I believe at the high school, Judson High School.
The high school, which one, Wagner or Judson?
Judson.
So we're down 1 officer at Judson. And this is exactly what I was talking about. We're down.
They can use that salary for people that's not there for the sub. That's why they don't need it.
But why aren't we doing it?
Mr. LaFolle.
Now, in the budget, we budgeted for 2 more officers. We did not budget for 2 more new officers.
We are budgeted for 20 positions.
20 positions. Well, someone was mentioning here, which confused me, that we budgeted in the budget, we put in enough money for 2 more officers. Did that happen?
This year, yes, sir.
It did. Did we fill those positions?
We filled one, we have 1 new position for Judson High School.
Yeah.
That's the only new position we have.
So there's still 1 hanging out there that we can hire.
You can have 2.
2 more. Okay. So we need one more officer, and we got enough for the elementaries.
No, these are vacant positions that fill our schedule.
Well, then, you say we hired one new officer. We have one vacancy of a new officer? Okay. Then if we budgeted for 2 new officers in the budget, that's what you're telling me. Go try it again.
Sir, when the board approved an additional officer,
Uh-huh.
it brought us to 20 positions.
20 positions.
Currently, of those 20 positions, we have 2 vacancies.
And one of them is a lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
Got that
You
right,
got
didn't
it.
I? I'm getting better as I get older, you know. And that way this is going on, I'm getting real old. Okay. Let's
Okay.
vote on this.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're back to the regular, adding 3 positions, okay? And now you're going to withdraw that because we have to open it. Okay, but sir, we got to make sure. We got to make sure we hire 2 officers to fill those positions.
Yeah.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess. We're back to our regular board meeting at 8:42. 8:42. We are going to go back to our consent. We're going to do consideration of consent items. I will read it. If you want to pull it, let us know. A, consider and take action regarding approval of board minutes for the regular meeting February 20th, 2013. B, consider and take action regarding approval of board minutes for special meetings held on June 11th of 2012, August 28th, 2012, January 10th, April 25th, May 3rd, May 20th, June 10th, and June 26th, 2013. C, consider and take action regarding approval of monthly financial information as of September 30th, 2013. D, consider and take action regarding approval resolution adopting the 2013 tax roll for Judson Independent School District. E, consider and take action regarding approval of ranking for professional engineering services for Woodlake Hills Middle School site improvement and a related budget amendment to the general operating fund. F, consider and take action regarding approval of ranking for professional engineering services for Wagner High School track repairs. G, pool G or pool F? G, consider and take action regarding approval of request for qualification 1321 for special education professional services. What? Okay, ma'am. H, consider and take action regarding approval of a proclamation supporting National Save for Retirement Week. We're going to pull that one. Yes, sir. Okay, we're going to be voting on item A, B, C, and D. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries for A, B, C, and D. Item E, consider and take action regarding approval. Okay, motion by Mr. Salyer, second by Ms. Adair. Ms. Adair, do we have to revote? Okay, all those in favor of item A, B, C, and D signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. They told me to rock and roll, so I'm sorry. E. Okay, E. Consider and take action regarding approval of ranking for professional engineering service of Woodlake Hills Middle School site improvements and related budget amendment to the general operating fund. Motion by Mr. Salyer, second by Ms. Adair. Mr. Macias.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Dr. Mackey, the Woodlake Middle School site improvements, I guess talk to me a little bit about that. Is that a one-time deal, or?
Yes, sir. It's a big one-time deal. If you notice, the total package would probably be in the $3 to $4 million range.
Mhm.
This was some issues that through the course of the last couple of years we've been discussing with our building and construction committee. We've made visits to the school. There's some drainage issues around the building itself. The dirt has washed out because the plastic retaining material between the bottom of the building and the underfloor is cracked and has failed. We did a very similar thing over at Park Village a couple of years ago for this very same reason. So we had a water infiltration underneath the building. Plus, we don't capture the water off the roof. This water comes straight off the roof and straight to the ground and washes out and erodes. This is extended all the way out to the parking lot and to the front drive. Last year on the front drive, we had a big concrete pad that moved, and we had to flush sand underneath it to stabilize it. And all of this is related to that draining, as well as the tennis courts in the back. They're very large cracks in them. They're very unusable because of the heaving ground back there. So we're looking at, we've been asked to look at some of these projects, bring them forward to the board and see if we want to go ahead and move forward with them out of the M&O budget. But there is we're at a point right now with the erosion that we can kind of maintain a little bit, but it's going to have to be 6-7 months. We're going to have to go back again. We're going to have to redo some work just to kind of make sure we don't have that infiltration of water under the building and we don't continue to erode the soil away from that. And like I said, it gets underneath the asphalt for the parking and the front drive.
Now, and so this particular item is for $300,000, but you're
That's
projecting.
to approve the engineering services. We're guessing we're going to be an amount of around $300,000 worth of engineering services in the ranking of the engineers.
And so will the board see the $3 to $4 million? Or okay, so this is really step one of the process, but you're anticipating to be 3 to 4, and that 3 to 4 will come out of, I guess, fund balance, more than likely. Okay. Wow. All right. And so I guess the next step, I'm looking at the memorandum on 61 with the rankings and so on with all these different engineers. I guess we've contacted those. It says here we contacted them. Is that what I'm noting here?
Well, what we've done is we've kind of talked to some engineers to get an idea of how much this will cost. It's kind of that chicken-egg thing. If we do this kind of work, what do we think we're going to realize as fees? And that way we know what to bring forward to you as a fee structure. But these rankings have been done based on the statement of qualifications that the engineers have issued. So now, if you approve this tonight, now we go to the number one ranked engineer and we say, okay, we've been approved to start negotiations with you on this project. What are we going to look for as fees on this project? That's where we're at. And
just for some clarity, did we put this in the newspaper, or did you select these 7 just to kind of gauge? How did that work, Mr. Ashmore or Dr. Mackey?
Mr. Macias, back in fiscal year 2010, we issued a request for qualifications for engineering services, and we developed a pool of qualified engineers. So every time that we have a project that comes up, we go back to that pool and we find the engineers that are qualified to work in that particular project. And so then we go and evaluate their qualifications for that specific work. And so that's where these engineers came from, was out of that existing pool. And so these are the ones they contacted them to make sure that they could do this type of work. And so then they evaluated them based on other comparable projects they may have worked on in the past. So that's how they come up with the vendors that they're working with here.
But you said 2010. That's 2011 here.
No, sir. The RFQ for the engineering services was issued in fiscal year 2010.
So this is an error. It says here October 2011.
24.
That's whenever they had completed a ranking initially, whenever they first looked at the project. Back then, it's been shelved since then, and so it's been brought back to life. So our facilities planning department went and reviewed these engineers for this project in 2011, but they didn't have the ability to go and move forward with it, so it got tabled. And so it's become a new issue that has stuck its head back up again, and so they've taken it off the shelf. They did not go back and reevaluate the engineering firms based on today because they had already performed the work. Meaning our facilities planning department had already figured out who was most qualified.
I'm sorry, Mr. Macias, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm trying to just formulate my question. I guess my thought is, obviously it's an acceptable practice. I trust our procurement office will go through the process correctly. These vendors were then selected in 2010, I guess, just to clarify. A lot more vendors are probably capable. I'm wondering whose call was it to use 2010 rather than go back out into the newspaper?
The deal is, sir, is it costs quite a bit of money to issue this RFQ, and a lot of engineering firms will fail to respond if we issue them too frequently. And so in order to keep that pool as large as possible so that we have a lot of good resources to pull from, we try not to overuse that tool. We recently issued a new request for qualifications. They're currently under review by the Facilities Planning Department.
Mhm.
So on future projects that we bring to you, it'll be a fresher batch. But
Okay.
I can tell you that it's only about 30% of the size of the last one. So part of that is because we don't have a lot of construction plans, so some engineering firms have dropped off. But we do have a new RFQ, and we do go to them to ask them, okay, what projects have you done lately?
What is the threshold in terms of when we're going to issue the new one? Obviously, you issued one now, so future projects will have a fresher list.
There is no required timeline for anything like that. It's a matter of judgment with staff and what best meets the needs of the district. We do this RFQ because it's a requirement of local policy,
Mhm.
and so that's why we do it in this fashion. But there's nothing that stipulates what the timeline is for how frequent we do it.
Oh.
Again, as I said, if we do it too frequently, we
Sure.
get engineers, we get firms that just won't participate.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That was my question. Ms. Aiden.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Salyer and you, Ms. Salinas, in your committees, I don't know which one this would be, but can you guys keep an eye on what's going on over there and maybe discuss it at your committee meetings?
The building and construction.
So that when it comes back, you know, you'll have some committee involvement and
I think there's Mark, do we have a meeting Monday, right? Or? Oh, in November. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, sir. Okay. Yes, and that's something that we can discuss, Mark, concerning this project because we had already looked at it when we were there last year and we made the recommendation to the board. As far as the tennis courts, I hope we get that going because I've been talking about it, I think, in the committee for the last year and a half. They need it because it's not fair to the students, not fair to the coaches that they cannot use those tennis courts. And I think they transport those kids somewhere else. Oh, yes, sir. This is part of it. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, no further comments? Okay, all those in favor signifying by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. F, consider and take action regarding approval of ranking for professional engineering services for Wagner High School track repairs. Motion by Ms. Adair, second by Ms. Williams. Discussion by Mr. Was that Mr. Macias? Mr. Macias.
Mr. Kirshner, can you go ahead and talk about that?
Yes, sir. This is the project that the track is in that same state as those tennis courts over at Woodlake Hills Middle School. The track is separated. We have done a couple of reviews on it. We've got pictures of Mike Miller's foot standing in cracks on the side. Again, it's because of the upheaval of the soils. During the budgeting process, y'all actually have approved some money, $451,000, was that what it was? So around $450,000 for this particular project, and we have another almost $200,000 from Bond 2006 that we're going to put in this project as well. So we're just now we're going to hire the engineer to engineer the work, and then we'll do the same thing we're doing before. Once we get the engineer to engineer the work, then we'll come back with a bid on, we need to bid the track itself out.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, so I just wanted to just reaffirm that I'm reading this correctly. So this project in itself is not, it states here on the impact rationale, not to exceed $117,000?
That's about what we think the engineering fees are going to be, yes.
Okay, and that'll come within the $200,000 window you said we have in bond money from the 06 bond?
Yes.
Okay, and so I guess we'll figure it out after that. All right, thank you.
Okay, no further question? All those in favor of the motion signifying by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. Consider and take action regarding approval of ranking for professional. G, consider and take action regarding approval of request for qualifications 1321 for special education professional services. Motion by Ms. Adair, second by Ms. Williams. Ms. Adair.
Yes, I just have a question, Dr. Mackey, on page 55.
55?
Yes, sir. 55. Well, that's what it is in board book.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not on 55.
It's on, what? Y'all's is a different. 66. It's behind the memorandum from Mr. Elizondo.
Yeah.
68, yeah, we got it. Okay, I got it. Go ahead.
Y'all got different numbers. So anyway, I just want to know if the special ed department needs the two that were not approved, and if, there's something that needs to be done, why they weren't approved, or if they're okay without them. I know why you didn't approve them, so I'm not asking you, Mr. Ashmore. I'm asking the special ed.
Ms. Orochigil, yes. Dr. Orochigil.
On one-to-one tutoring, we do not need that support, but when we looked at their application, it wasn't complete, and so that is why it wasn't approved. And we can always contract a smaller contract if we need to. We don't have to go through the approval process for that one. With regard to K-Lair, that was a consultant, and again, we could do an individual contract should we need that person. But we feel that we have, with our existing staff, we are able to do all of the services that she provided last year.
Okay. That's all I want to know. Make sure that our special ed has what they need. Mr. Ashmore has to do some more work. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. No. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. H, consider and take action regarding approval of a proclamation supporting National Save for Retirement Week. Motion by Mr. Macias, second by Mr. Salinas. Mr. Macias. I got to do something once in a while.
Well, thank you, Mr. Salinas, and thank you, Dr. Mackey, for putting this also on the agenda. I just wanted to, point out that Mr. Tommy Ortiz had actually approached me on this item, that Bexar County was doing a national or Safer Retirement Week, which was important for Bexar County employees. And so in the same vein, it was also important for our teachers and our professionals, our employees, to note that it is important to save for retirement. So I'm going to take a real quick 2 minutes to read this proclamation for the record. Yes, proclamation, Save for Retirement Week in Judson ISD, supporting the goals and ideals of National Save for Retirement Week, including raising Judson ISD's employees' awareness of various tax-deferred retirement plans. Whereas Judson ISD, a premier employee, has over 2,800 employees with an average tenure of 7 years in the district. Whereas people are living longer and the cost of retirement and health care costs are increasing significantly, the need to save for retirement is very important. Whereas teacher retirement system, Social Security, and other retirement systems were never intended to be the sole source of retirement income for families. Whereas many employees in Judson ISD may not be aware of their employer's option for saving for retirement, or may not have focused on the importance of or the need for saving for their own retirement. Whereas Judson ISD's employees can benefit from increased awareness of retirement savings strategies through defined contribution and tax-deferred plans, 403B and 457B, to assist them in saving for retirement. And whereas the National Save for Retirement Week has been endorsed by the U.S. Congress, supported by the National Association of Government Defined Contribution Administrators, Bexar County, VALEC, and many financial institutions all over the country to craft a culture that promotes and values saving for retirement in the workplace. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Judson ISD Board of Trustees, 1, supports the goals and ideals of National Save for Retirement Week, including raising employees' awareness of the importance of saving adequately for retirement to achieve financial security. 2, support the idea that building a reliable income source for retirement is a worthwhile project that starts with a plan, a vision, and a goal. And 3, calls on all employees in Judson ISD to observe National Save for Retirement Week with appropriate programs, meetings, and activities with the goal of starting and increasing retirement savings for all employees in Judson ISD. We are here to proclaim Save for Retirement Week in Judson ISD to be observed on October 20th to the 26th of 2013. So, thank you, Mr. Ortiz, for providing this information. Again, I think it's important that we really focus on that, and I'll, of course, look at administration to coordinate any type of activities and so forth. Mr. Ortiz, if you would rise just for a second, just so the board record, this is Tommy Ortiz with Valak. Thank you again for providing that information. All right, that's all I have.
Okay, now we'll vote.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. Discussion items, reports. Oh, okay. We'll start with A. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of energy usage in the district related to employee working conditions and schedules.
Mr. We don't need a motion. I don't have an action on it. So we just want a discussion. Ask you to waive the motion.
Okay, we'll waive the motion, and no problem. Discussion.
Timmons, I first want to apologize about my voice. I went through this about 40 years ago, and I'm doing it again tonight. Dr. Mackey, Mr. President, members of the board, thank you. Ms. Adair, I know that you have some questions. I also have a recap from last year's energy management program that I'd like to run through, so please stop me anytime if you have questions.
Dr. Mackey, in light of Mr. Raspberry's health, the board has the handout that he prepared. If you could post that online where the citizens, so we could just ask them the questions. We don't want to.
Sure.
I just want to say we got the email. There's going to be a lot of media tomorrow. If I read it from the Trinity.
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us what's going to happen, sir?
We were approached by CPS in the spring to participate in the demand response program. The demand response program basically is when CPS needs to shed kilowatts across the city, they ask for their commercial or their industrial partners like us to make a commitment to curtail our load within the district. We were the only district that is doing a very aggressive manual program, and I want to say before I go any further that this was such a success for us that they've asked us to do a spot with them endorsing the program. But this is all because of Mr. Jimenez. He babysat this thing. He monitored this thing. He stayed with it. When we had these events called, our committable load reduction that we said we will do for CPS was 700 kilowatts just for 4 schools. We averaged a megawatt. That's 1,000 kilowatts. We get paid up to 150% of that. So our incentive that we get presented a check for from CPS is $45,580. And that's just for 2 months of shedding our load in schools that had basically no occupancy anyway. So we were already doing it from an energy management standpoint. It was part of our strategy. We had the strategies built into our system. CPS came to us. We made a few minor modifications. And again, because of Andy's hard work, we were able to set a standard that no other school district in San Antonio has done. So that's what. So tomorrow we're being presented that tomorrow.
Some more savings. I think you already superseded 250,000 since you came on board. We're very proud of that, and Mr. Jimenez, hopefully he will be continuing. Board, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. That sounded really great. And I know everybody's excited about the money. I come from the other aspect of it. One, if I recall at the budget, we did save money, and we used the money to bring you some more staff to help us to do some other energy efficiency type things. But right now, I'm receiving complaints from our employees And I can't speak for my other board members, I'm only speaking for myself.
Sure.
The employees said that they're sweating.
Yeah.
We had the Commissioner of Education here, and he was sweating in the halls at Rolling Meadows. I would ask that we look at saving money, but not at the expense of the comfort of our employees. Some of our teachers have mentioned that they're not staying after school because the air is going off. It's too hot for them to stay and work on some of the things that they would normally be willing to work on. We did have a problem with some of the after-school programs not having AC. And so I would ask Dr. Mackey that you relook at the times we're cutting off the AC or not air conditioning hallways where the majority of, there's a lot of traffic in the hallways. And, you know, my kids, they give me the same thing when like now, I've cut off the air conditioning and said open the windows.
Right.
And so my son doesn't think that's a great idea, and I told him we're saving energy, it's cool enough outside.
Right.
But we can't open the windows at the classrooms in the
That's true.
school. So that was my purpose, was to allow you to tell us how we were saving. And yes, the $45,000 is great, but we want Judson to be a comfortable place to work, and we want our employees to stay late.
Sure. And so let me address just some of the concerns, because I don't ever think for a second that we're not concerned about the indoor environmental quality for our students, our staff, faculty, administrators, because that's important. We have a very effective mechanism in place in the district to both report hot and cold calls, to react to them, to issue work orders, to service them, and to close them out. I can say unequivocally that we have had, since we've initiated this program, that we are 100% on attacking those issues. Now, we manage 3,800,000 square feet in this district. Okay, I say we. You're looking at us. We manage the indoor environmental quality in 3.8 million square feet of campus. So yes, some things are going to slip through the cracks. We understand that. We also rely on a software program, right? We rely on the software program to help us fill in some gaps. This software program that we have, which is known as FS Direct, is constantly evolving as we plug information and data into it. So there are some disconnects there. We are always working on that to make it a better system for everyone. But we have some systems in place. I have been up and visited every campus. I have given every campus, and so has Andy, a remote monitoring device, so that when they have a concern, we want to know about it. We want them to tell us what the temperature is in their space. We check that against our building automation system, and if we have over a 2-degree variance, that tells us we have an issue that needs addressing. I will tell you that last year, during the months of August and September, we had 130 hot and cold calls for that 2-month period. This year, during the same 2-month period, we've had 67. So we're down 53% in our hot and cold calls because we're finding out what's going on in our classrooms. We're reacting to it as quickly as we can. I want to go back and just restate what I said initially. Nothing we do under the banner of energy management serves to negatively impact the students, the teachers, faculty, and staff, or taxpayers in this district. We have to find a very fine balance between indoor environmental quality and comfort for our kids, which is important to me. And also we have to be responsible about the way we use our energy resources, because they're not infinite. We have a finite amount of energy. And so this is a constant juggling game. It's a constantly moving target. We work hard to make sure that we're trying to take care of everybody. We have never not responded to somebody's complaint or concern about temperature or indoor thermal comfort. We take every one of them seriously. So I just want to say that. On top of that, the savings that we have is a byproduct of what we do. We don't set out to see how much we can save, okay? And honestly, okay, we don't start out to do that. What we do is we put in place very proactive guidelines that help us do what we need to do, that take care of kids. And then if we're lucky enough to see some savings on the back end, well, we take that. We take that. Last year we exceeded our goal by 143% in the savings department. We didn't set out to do that, but that was how we ended up. This year, 90 days into the school year, we've already saved just from last year $105,000 from last year. And it's not from turning air off. It's from being good stewards of our resources, watching what we're doing, making sure that we're being respectful to the teachers, to the classrooms, to the students. But we have this fine line that we need to walk. And we're doing the best that we can.
Mentioned that you gave out those thermostat.
Yes, ma'am.
So you gave them to the principals?
Every campus has received one and signed for it.
Okay.
And was taught how to use it.
Okay. So let's say I'm Joe Blow teacher
Sure.
in classroom B.
Right.
So what I'm supposed to do is go to my principal and say, it's 3 o'clock, there's no air, and the principal's going to give me this thermostat. I'm going to go to the room, get the reading. Tell me at any point if I'm doing it wrong.
You're close. You're wrong.
Okay. Well, you tell me how to do it.
Let me tell you how this is supposed to work.
Okay.
80% of the hot and cold calls that we get coming into the classroom or into energy management, they're based on somebody's individual internal thermostat. I'll give you a good example. Okay. Okay. Sitting behind me over here, we've got ladies that are fanning. I've got a lady at the end. Look, she's rubbing her arms. She's freezing to death. This is what I'm talking about. We're 71.9 degrees in here. 71.9 degrees, okay? 71.9 is great for some people. Other people will run them out of here. So we have to. So here's what we do. If you have a problem in your classroom, okay, every concern is valid, right? We have to look into it. The procedure is, and every campus knows what the procedure is because we've given it to them in writing and electronically. They put a call into the office. They say, my classroom is hot. I don't know why. It's just hot. Okay. Here's how the administration is supposed to react to this. And so far they've been doing pretty well. The individual that signed for the remote device goes to the classroom, puts this on the sensor for 15 minutes in the classroom. They get a reading. They lock it in. Now they go back to the administration office. They say, okay, we got this locked in. Call maintenance, 945-1200. Patty picks up the phone. They say, okay, we took our 15-minute reading. We're showing 76.7 in here. 76.7 is well outside of our acceptable range for indoor thermal quality, right? It's outside of it. So now we look at it on the system. Our system shows 75 right on the money, which is well within our parameters. So we've got too wide a spread there. So now this gets turned into a work order, gets handed to Andy, and Andy knows what to go look for. He goes to the classroom and he calibrates the thermostat or the sensor. These things are just microprocessors. They need calibration from time to time. 9 times out of 10, by just calibrating that sensor, that solves the problem. Everybody's happy. We typically don't hear from anybody else in that space. Now, there's always going to be extenuating circumstances where it's not that. Perhaps it's one of our HVAC units. Perhaps we're not producing enough cubic feet per minute airflow coming out of our classrooms. We try to address those as we can. We take a lot of forensic readings in the classrooms. Nothing we do is haphazard. Everything's backed up by data. Everything's done deliberately and very measurably. And that's what and I collect everything. I log everything. Everything. Trust me. Nothing gets by me that I don't know about. So we constantly chasing this thing, okay? Does that make sense? But we have found that people that have internal thermostats, right, some people are hot, some people are cold, we can't make reactive changes to what's going on in the classroom based on somebody's internal thermostat. We'll always try to accommodate, trust me. But I can't bring temperature down because you're just inside you're cold or hot. I know, trust me. So we do the best that we can. This is a juggling game. We've always got chainsaws in the air. We're always working to try to make it happen for everybody. But again, 3.8 million square feet, it's a little difficult sometimes. I'm not saying we don't handle it. I'm just saying that it constantly keeps us on our toes. Sure. I look at each case individually. We have a district guideline, and it's just that, it's a guideline. It's a place for us to start. It's a place where we start from. It has to do with fans. It has to do with heaters. Who am I to say you can't have a fan if you? Well, look, you'll have me right back up here again, asking me why I didn't let this person have a fan. Come on, I know the game. You're good. So listen. So listen. You don't have to show me a note. I'm not here to police adults, right? You do what you feel like you need to do. We try to work with everybody. Okay. All right.
Another question. When you first got here, the first thing you got done was a retrofit of the lights, right?
Most of that had been done before.
Most of that had been done before. What was the total savings on that?
On the lights?
Yeah.
There's
On
no
the
way to
savings.
there's no way to calculate savings.
How much
on
did
those.
we get back from CPS?
Oh, you're talking about the payback. So less than a 1 year payback is excellent. I appreciate that. We're going to leave some doors open. Any other questions? No.
I know I've been bugging you about give us a report, and thank you. And I'm sorry
Anytime,
you were
Mr. President,
you were ill,
anytime.
but thank you and your staff. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Very good. Consider item D. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of construction procurement method for Kirby Middle School gym flooring replacement. Motion by Mr. LaFoyle, second by Ms. Williams. Discussion. Yeah, she said it. Mr. LaFoyle.
This is something that I've been talking about for quite a while. It's the only school in our district that doesn't have a wood floor in their gymnasium. Now, Dr. Mackey has taken it on himself to make sure that we're going to get one. The only problem we had with this floor is they wouldn't, Ms. Kirschner, am I right or wrong, they wouldn't guarantee it or warranty it?
The people that manufacture the wood for the floor, because of it's not an air-conditioned space, will not guarantee the wood for the floor in there.
How many gym floors do we have that are not in air-conditioned spaces?
All but Metzger. All but Metzger.
Metzger is the only one with an air conditioning. Right. Are they having any problems?
Is Metzger having any problems?
No, the other one.
We did have some slight ones over at Kitty Hawk when we replaced that one, but they seem to have lined out. We don't get the complaints anymore, let me put it that way.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Miller would definitely be able to answer better to that.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Oh. Anybody else? Okay. Oh. No. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. E, consider and take possible action regarding approval of the selection and approval of the appointment of 3 community members for the Judson ISD Hall of Honor Selection Committee. Motion by Ms. Williams, second by Mr. LaFoyle. Okay. E, discussion. How do you want to handle that? You want everybody turn in a name, or how do you want to do that? Oh, volunteers from the floor. Okay. Do we have any volunteers that would like to serve in the? Huh? Oh, Mr. Linscomb. Okay. Okay. No. So we don't have to vote. Okay. 3 members. Thank you, sir. F, consider and take possible action regarding approval of aquatic feasibility study and a related budget amendment. Motion by Mr. Sellier, second by Ms. Williams. Discussion. We asked for it, the board. Yeah.
We asked for it. You know, we wanted to know what the feasibility study is. If you look in your book, it has the numbers. And the cheap one was what, 14,000? 12,000. So I make a motion, we spend the 12,000 bucks for a feasibility study.
And Mr. LaFoyle.
And where do we go from here? If we recommend this and it comes back, what do we do then? Do we spend millions of dollars for a...
Maybe a location, who's willing to go along with us?
That's the main thing I would like to hear, is who wants to partner with us.
Well, that's why you have a feasibility study.
Right.
Say yes, Richard.
Well, it's already feasible. You know that. We always want it. Aqua Club has been here how many times?
Maybe they'll recommend that we put it in the next bond election. I don't know.
Oh, no.
But anyway, okay. Anybody else? All? They're trying to run my... I am the president. I'm sorry, ma'am. Oh, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. Oh. Opposed, two of them, ma'am. Did you get that, Jackie? Consider and take possible... Oh, wait a minute. Aye. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of Copperfield Elementary Principal. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it was between. Yes, we did the other two. H. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of the establishing the position of military family engagement specialist and ODEA STEM grant project director. Motion by Mr. Sellier, second by Ms. Williams. Discussion.
Well, yes, we do a discussion. Ms. Howard, to explain that.
The question, please.
Go ahead, ma'am.
The question.
Item agenda.
Item agenda H.
The positions that we're looking at considering. The job descriptions for the military family. We got the grant.
Right.
For $1,700,000.
Yes. This is the Department of Defense grant, and part of the grant requires that we do have a person or individual, a position to manage the grant for the 6 campuses that will be recipients of those grant monies. In addition to that, the grant also requires that we have a liaison that will act on behalf of the district to the military to coordinate involvement activities and awareness through the program for those military families.
Okay.
The positions will be funded for 3 years directly from the grant, fully funded from the grant.
Okay. No discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. Aye. Would like to go to executive session concerning I and okay, hold on. Yes, but first I think I have to. We're going to do I, consider and take possible action regarding approval of Copperfield Elementary Principal. J, consider and take possible action regarding approval of the personnel report and updates, including new hire, resignation, administrative appointments. Yes. Are you talking about where after the superintendent report? Okay, ma'am. We'll consider that. Okay, we're gonna go pursuant to Texas Code Section 551.074, discussing personnel. We are now going to executive session 9:25. Back from executive session at 10:05. No action or votes were taken while in executive session. So we have a motion for item
Aye.
I.
6I. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion
Yes, ma'am.
to consider and take action regarding approval of Copperfield Elementary Principal Jerry Spellman.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is everybody? Oh, okay. All those in favor signifying by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Dr. Mackey.
I'd like to say Ms. Spellman has done an outstanding job with the district, and I'm going to have her to stand up. She has her family, her kids, and her husband with her. Please have her family stand up. Yeah, so this family, you'd like to say something, Ms. Spellman? Okay,
Thank you. Okay, item J, consider and take possible action regarding approval of personnel report and updates, including new hire, resignation, administrative appointments. Motion by Mr. Flores, second by Ms. Adair. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. Discussion items. Yes, ma'am. I have no problem with that, ma'am. On discussion items, D, update on Princeton review. Do I have a motion?
No,
I'm
it's a
sorry.
discussion.
This is discussion. Mr. Macias.
Yes, sir. And just for we'll discuss this. I do want to probably table most of these other ones for talk with Dr. Mackey on them. But Princeton Review, I just wanted an update in terms of where we were all that.
Okay, we just received a preliminary report for the number of kids and the pre-testing for the Princeton Review, and I'll give this to you all in the Friday packet. We just got it this evening, so I'll get this to you.
So any initial feedback on that?
I haven't really just looked at it. I'm just looking at it right now, and I'll get the staff and we'll kind of review it. So I have kind of answer some questions, and then I'll get with you all on it.
And you'll send it to you.
I'll send it to you on the Friday packet.
Well, since we've had our principals here as well, I thought this might be an opportunity to ask how that implementation, right? We're using it at Wagner and at Judson.
Yes, that's correct.
And so to get some feedback on how that program is working there from just their perspective. It's been around, since the beginning of the school year, correct?
Yes, sir, and I have talked to a couple of parents who absolutely love it. They happen to be Judson High School parents, but they were very complimentary on what their children are learning. And I asked them to please get that in writing, because I think it's good to keep student comments along as well with the actual data. So
we have this.
if the principals want to say something.
Mr. Fields? Dr. McMahon?
Yeah.
Mr. Fields, if you just have a second to give some feedback on the actual Princeton Review in your high school.
When we started off in the summer, we asked the students during registration which ones would be interested in signing up for the program, and we got about 77 students. After the school year kind of started, and as we got closer to the startup, we asked ROTC, band, athletics, which students that weren't already getting the SAT done but needed some coaching up on it that we thought would probably get some type of scholarship if their scores were high enough. Brought those students in. We eventually got up to about 122 students. As the students came in, we started off kind of shaky with the instructor that was in there, but we have a new instructor in now, And we're currently at over 100 students involved. Out of the 100 students involved, 97% of them participated in like a pretest. So we were able to gauge where we were at. All of those students have signed up to take the SAT and ACT in preparation in December. So it was really a big boon for us. Now, coming up the next semester, we wanted to get more of our juniors involved, but that's it's going to be an issue for us because it's not a accredited class. So for those juniors who have full schedules, if they were to take something out and we plug this class in, it really doesn't count towards their degree point. So that's going to be an issue. But if we can push it down, one of the recommendations from Dr. Mackey was that we started at the sophomore level and start getting those students in, because they're not as concerned as juniors and seniors are as to what credits I need right now towards graduation. So it was a big plus for us, big plus.
And Mr. Hernandez, if you could.
Yes, sir.
What the number taking the ACT and
I would say last year, sir, when we looked on our AEIS report, we had about 322 students that participated in the SAT. This year, we've already got a documented student load of maybe 220 students that have already participated. But with the students that are registered for December, and they can take it again in March, we anticipate being well over that amount, even with a smaller graduating class than what we had the year before. So it was a big plus.
At Judson High School, we didn't have the same response as far as student interest is concerned. So currently, we're sitting at 53 enrolled students for the program. We do have a plan in place for increasing the enrollment next semester. Hopefully, we'll get to over 100 as well. The plan is to move the 12th grade athletics boys that play football over to that class, because now they're ready for those scholarships, they're ready for that test, and they have that extra period in their day to fit in. And that would count as something that is an elective for them, without credit, obviously, but still fill that course in there. We just got the scores back from the preliminary report that Dr. Mackey referenced earlier. I'm proud to report that the average score is actually higher than what I scored on my SAT, so I'm really proud of those kids. I'm not going to disclose my scores, but they actually did very well. They're scoring at 1362, which is phenomenal. I did. They made an exception for me, sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Ms. Robinson, the Princeton Review, what is the capacity for the program per school? Was it 120? Yeah, 120. Okay, great. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, we go to Miss item B, elementary boundary, Miss Adair.
Thank you, Dr. Mackey, for the map. We all received it, our maps, and on our desk tonight we received the dates and locations for the committees, and so we're getting started, and that's what we need to do. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Took me an hour.
No, I was just going to say, talking about boundaries, I think in the future we also need to look at the boundaries for the two high schools and see maybe, because Judson is just growing and growing and growing. Yeah, that's fine, sir, no problem.
When were we going to have, I guess, preliminary meetings to discuss the boundaries?
It's on your, we got the calendar on our
Oh, it is?
desk.
Okay, okay.
It's a piece of paper.
Sure. All right, thank you. Now, Ms.
C, update on STEM, Science, Technology, Engineer, Math Academy to include DOD grant. Adair Salinas. Miss Adair, go ahead.
Due to the time of the lateness of the hour, I just want to state that I did get informed that those two are not together, and that the DOD grant will not be able to be utilized to fund our STEM. So next meeting, Dr. Mackey, or just send it to us, but we need to know what we're doing, where we are on the STEM, on the renovations, on the curriculum, et cetera. And then thank you to Ms. Roddy and Ms. what's her name? Ms. Adams for the grant, for doing the work on the grant and getting us that money. So I want to say thank you. Good job.
But you said it would not be used on the stand. Well, actually, they're going to be, it can be used for fifth graders, man. Am I correct?
They told me that it cannot be.
The grant can be used for fifth graders this year, right?
No, sir.
Yeah, but I thought it was going to involve the fifth grader by what I was told, right? Well, is it fifth graders that the grant is in elementary, but some of those fifth graders are going to be getting all of that grant maybe next year when they become sixth graders. They could go into the STEM, right?
No, only the students that are going to Kitty Hawk will get it. Only the grant goes only for the grant, the DoD grant that we received. It'll be at the elementary campuses, those 5 elementary campuses, and they and Kitty Hawk Middle School will be the only middle school that will receive those monies. Yes. Oh, it's Coronado Village, Olympia, Rolling Meadows, Salinas, and Masters. And Hop, and Converse, yes.
That's the 1.7. That's the 1.7, right? And that's 1.7 for 3 years, correct? Yes. And that's the 2 positions that we approved tonight? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. No further questions. Anybody else? Okay, we go to...
Mr. Salinas, if I may.
Yes,
I'm willing to table items E, G, H, I, and really the only one I want to talk briefly about is F. That was an item that I put on the agenda. And I'll table the other items for later.
Okay, let's do F. Update on fraud and abuse hotline. Ms.
Yes.
Macias.
Thank you. Dr. Mackey, what's that been looking like? I think it's almost been close to a year that we've had that fraud and abuse toll-free tip line. What's your assessment on it?
We actually came up on our anniversary date of October, and since then we've only received 12 reports.
Good. I know that this is a deterrent, so I mean that's good. I mean, have the calls been productive? I guess.
Yeah, we're investigating.
So are we continuing with the service for the time being? Okay. Well, good. That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
We haven't seen anything that would lead us to believe that we needed to investigate anything further.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. Unless you, okay, let's go ahead and do EEOC report, and by the way, I think that's required, right, sir? Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, sir. As part of our policy, we present that information to the school board in October every month. This year, we are not required to federally report to the government. We're on the even year, so we'll report next year. But that we maintain the data anyhow. Absolutely. We will re-designate the ethnicities of the school board. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Update on advisory committees.
I know that I have worked time on my women's Sonny, could you tell us what they talked about at the curriculum and long-range plan?
voted on today, that we looked at long-range plan for the matrix of the building, for the chillers, the roofs, the playgrounds, and we intend to discuss the situation over at Woodlake Middle School, the parking lot, and the separating of the ground from around the building, the tennis courts, and all of that. We looked at all the schools and items that had been identified that was wrong with those, and what was the time frame and what we should have getting all of them fixed, and kind of looked at where they're going to be put, or as the finance committee, where they're going to look and see if they can come up with a scheme where, or a schedule where you can file in, so you can look way out and have everything funded, so you don't have to just go in fund balance all the time and just pull money out to do it. Okay, thanks, sir.
Building the first and finance group? Oh, okay. Okay, so then we're okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Update on board training, conference events, consider future agenda items, request for board, future items requested by board members. If you look on your calendars, don't forget tomorrow, very, very important, we have the college fair, and I believe the weather is supposed to be nice and clear. It's at Judson High School. We have put on your calendar for November 14th. We have a hearing. Then we have long range on November the 6th. Finance, Building, and Construction Committee on the 18th of November. Okay. Yes.
I'd like to report that I attended the CUBE conference with NSBA downtown, and it was a lot of good information, which I passed on to Dr. Mackey and his cabinet. And they asked to meet the superintendent, and Dr. Mackey came down for part of a period and met with some of the other board members from other states. And so it was a really good conference, and they'll be having the national meeting in Louisiana, for those of you New Orleans.
Okay.
They filled up those ballrooms in the hotel.
Yeah, and two, in this aspect too, I want to ask the board. I know Mr. Adair visited a school through the CUBE, and I visited with Ms. Robinson, and we talked about a couple of things of maybe having once a semester, and like they went and looked at the school and CUBEs. Why don't we do it with the board? Would the board pick one school a semester, and we go visit the school, and we talk about all the programs and the good things, and share the good things that's going on the campuses, and let the principals shine and tell us with their staff all the great things that they're doing. So we want to kind of develop a program we can do that. And just, yeah, we'll select a school and just give a date when you all can come and put and do that. Yeah, okay, we'll take care of that. Yeah, yeah.
We also attended the state convention, Mr. Flores, Mr. Macias, myself, and Dr. Mackey, and Mr. Salyer. Very, very productive, attended a lot of sessions. So hopefully we'll continue doing that. We have a board team building on November the 9th, on Saturday, November the 9th. Okay?
Next future agenda item, we have success for all for the November 4th.
Yes, success for all. Okay. And whatever Mr. Macias is going to put back there. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much. Good night.
All right. Good.